got that heat.
Welcome to another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. I'm your co-host, Tajon Graham. Once again, Jason's not with us due to himself being ill. Jason, we wish you a speedy recovery. We hope you get back. Just know that this season's nice and warm and waiting for you, brother. But anyways, we like to say the show must go on. So we have another great guest for you guys today. He's a first-year athlete at Nipissing, his third year overall, and he's my new teammate on the men's basketball team. Please welcome to the Lakers Locker Room, Muktar Mohamed. Muktar, how you doing today, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Appreciate you having me.
I
Been a
know,
long time waiting, man. I've been talking to you. We're like, when is it gonna happen? Finally, it's about time.
bro. We've talked about it from time, I don't know how long we talked about you coming on, but I'm glad we finally made it happen. So
yeah, man. For sure, I'm happy. Thank you.
It's long overdue, man. How you been? You been staying safe in Ottawa?
Yeah. I think it's a tough time for all athletes, So finding ways to stay active, stay mentally fit, physically fit, is important for all of us. So yeah, I've been in Ottawa just trying to stay with school, trying to stay fit, trying to do any type of home or workout to make me feel like I'm still in that game mode. So yeah, I've been good.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna get right into it. You touched on it just now, but obviously at the time of this recording, it's probably been about, I want to say 3.5 months since we last practiced. How has this shutdown been different this time around than it was the first time in April, May, June for you?
I think this one, well, at that time, the shutdown happened around, I started end of March, beginning April, right? So at that time, I was kind of at my college waiting on a flight to go back to Ottawa. So it was different in the sense that I wasn't really around my family at the time. So at the time, it was way harder for me to deal with. So this time, I feel like I have my family around. I feel more comfortable. I'm kind of used to the lockdown since it already previously happened. I know what to expect out of it. So for me, it's kind of like I adapted more to it, and I have better habits as far as structure wise, like how to deal with my time. So it's all been an adjustment, but I'm getting more used to it. I feel like even maybe other people could relate to me as well. So
Would you say that's been harder to motivate yourself? Because obviously the first time, when everything got shut down, we're like, okay, we don't know what to do. Like the gyms are closed. It's the same thing this time. So would you say it's been easier to motivate yourself or harder to motivate yourself this time around?
I'd say it's about the same. I don't think it's either harder. I don't think it got harder or easier. I feel like it's just as hard as it was before. Um, I feel that even if I'd say it is harder in a sense that I just got to keep looking forward to basketball and basketball and basketball, just waiting to hit that court. You know what I mean? But also, it makes it easier at the same time when you think about it, just your own self improvement. Like how you get better, as a person, as far as mentally, physically. You got to kind of switch the perspective around what this lockdown means, because it's all about perspective. Like the people that deal with the lockdown the best have a different perspective than people that deal with it the worst. They look at it as more of an opportunity instead of something that's kind of oh, it's holding me back. It's just another chance to learn more about myself.
Right. Coming into this season, this was going to be your first year with the team and first year with the guys. And then obviously you found out pretty early that there wasn't going to be any season. I usually ask every athlete on this podcast that comes on this podcast the same question. So I'm going to ask you, what was your reaction when you found out there was no season, and what were your expectations for the season had there been one?
I was pretty disappointed, like most. I was pretty sad. I was excited to see how the OUA game compared to the ACAC, because that's where I previously played. I wanted to see what the differences were in college and university play. But I also was happy to find out that this year would kind of be development year, to see as far as this would kind of let me take an easier path instead of getting hit with that kind of rookies kind of punch, I guess, hit rookies wall. So figuring out that we would have just practices actually helped me improve as far as okay, this is what practice looks like at the university level. Let's see if I could keep up and improve every day. Unfortunately, that also changed because of the lockdown. So hopefully that gets back to it. But I didn't really have any. I don't try to come into seasons as far as expectation wise. I go at it as like my expectation was just try to give my hardest every day because it's all you can do. I look at stuff as either like you got it or you don't. So I just try to bring it every day the best I can. I know that some days are just going to be off, but if my effort is there, then I know I'm improving. So that's kind of the way I look at
I know it's been a short time since you've been here, but how has your experience been at Nipissing so far in terms of, meeting the coaches, the guys, the facilities, like how all that, like how has it been for you so far?
it. Oh, it's been great. I feel like I still haven't gotten the full experience as far as what Nipissing and North Bay has to offer. But I still haven't seen like around the campus fully. I've only been to the athletic facility, right? So I am more excited to see what this campus has more to offer. Uh, but I do think that as far as the facilities are nice, they're great. I think the gym looks great. Facilities are great. Coach Corey's been welcoming me. He's been a great coach. Everybody on this team seems like they're passionate about what they do, which is great as well. There's like good vibes all around, So it's been a great experience so far. I feel like I made the right decision coming here. Like right when I came in my first few practices, I'm like, yeah, I think I made the right decision because I always want to put myself in a situation where I'm kind of outside of my comfort zone as far as players are going to push me. And if I'm not the best player on the team, that means that I'm on the right team because there's guys going to be kicking my ass every day. But because of that, I'm improving, right? So you also get a bunch of gear here, which is nice for free. Like my college, I had to fundraise for gear. So just coaches like, here, I got you a t-shirt. Like,
But everyone that comes on the podcast, when I ask this question, also they have different answers. So for you personally, what's it been like for you to adjust to online school?
oh man, it's kind of self-reliant. You got to just really be. It's like it kind of develops your independence because you're going to class. Like you have a certain expectation. Like the teacher's going to teach this. I got this on the board. Okay, I'm coming ready. I have something in mind. When you go into online learning, you got to rely on yourself, especially if it's non-synchronized. So it's not like you have a lecture on Zoom. It's like you got to figure out your own PowerPoints and then you got to translate that to a test. So I think people, honestly, I think it's good because if you could do this online, there's like you're pretty set if you could do it in person because you're actually it's all self-reliant. Like people are just giving you content and you're just basically learning it yourself without very little help. So if you could do this, I feel like it's going back to school next year, hopefully, will be much easier. That's the way I look at it.
For those in your position who went from college to university, who are looking to do that next year,
Mm.
just talk a bit about the difference of like level in terms of like school. Obviously, college is a different ball game from university in terms of like the way they teach it, like the
Mm.
content. Just talk a bit about the difference in that transition period for you.
Yeah, I feel like the difference is mainly in even like just straight off the syllabus. Like as far as your marks go, like it's a lot more exam heavy. College is like I feel more assignments. It's a little bit more light. But even in my last year, we had a lot of like work and experience. So it all really depends on what courses you take, because some colleges are really high level in certain fields and really in comparison to universities. So I feel like it really depends on what you take. But as for me, I could tell that the course load as far as taking like 5 courses comparison to 5 courses in college, the 5 courses in uni are a lot more. If you don't, it's time management difference, right? You could maybe procrastinate a few assignments in college, you feel me? But in uni, you can't lack because that's a bigger assignment and it's worth a lot more. So that's the big difference, like just time management, I feel like.
Yeah, just to touch on that, like obviously when you become a student athlete in university, like time management is everything. Like when you're from coming from high school and you get straight A's, like and all this stuff, like yeah, it's cool to get straight A's in high school, but like anybody can get straight A's in high school. Try transferring that same you know mindset into university, right? Because when I came to university, I come off getting like straight 90s in high school. I'm coming to university thinking, oh, I'm gonna get all these great grades, basketball's gonna be great and all this stuff. Man, I came here and I'm like, damn, like this is nowhere near high school. Like so much of everything just switches and you just gotta adjust on the fly. But I think now that I'm in my second year now, I'm more comfortable and I have an understanding that okay, this is how you do things, this is how you time manage, like this is how you go about things. So I think for everyone in your position, like once you like go through that like, the first few months, like you get used to it.
Yeah, I think even for me, I wasn't really like a recruited guy out of high school to go to uni. Like that college offer was my really only one offer, like the serious offer. So I think honestly, God kind of gave me that path to where, like, maybe I needed time to develop, maybe I needed time to mature in those 2 years. People have different paths, right? It's not gonna all end up the same way. Some people go uni straight away, some people redshirt, some people go, you feel me, like college. So it all depends on which path you take. So I felt like taking that college route is nothing to be ashamed of. Like those 2 years could really benefit you. I got my diploma out of it. Know what I mean? Now I'm trying to transfer that into a degree, hopefully, in business administration. So everybody has their own path. I think college really helped me to even make that path to university a lot easier.
Anyways, let's switch gears and let's talk a bit about your beginning. So, how did you get into playing basketball?
Um, Basketball, like especially in like as far as school wise, like basketball was always a sport you play in recess. Like it's the first, like all your friends went to, like when you're younger, all your boys play. So it's kind of initially the one thing that you go on the court, you hear the ball bouncing, you start to get into it, right? So my beginnings was obviously just playing in the park. You go in the play structure and you see a ball, you're like, oh, let's see what that's about. So I always started playing off like that, playing with for fun, just tried other sports, but basketball always, I don't know, basketball always stuck out to me as something like I was really passionate about. I started to love it, especially watching basketball games with my uncle. And like when I was 8 or 9, I remember vividly watching like Kobe and then play against the Nuggets. And I just remember those times where I'd watch like Melo play as well. So those kind of people, watching them all the time, watching the NBA from a young age kind of made me develop into like, oh, this looks interesting. This looks something like fun I want to do. It was just based off passion. And then I started working and working and working and started to get better at it, started to see myself improve. And I guess is where I end up. So
What do you think have been the biggest lessons you've learned from the basketball's taught you about life?
yeah, that's a good one. I had a great coach at Phoenix, Shannon Quinn. Obviously know him. Coach Waterman taught a lot about how correlation between basketball and life. And I feel like the biggest one for me was probably self-discipline. Um, Self-discipline is really important, I think, and it's playing a huge role into how I kind of live my life right now, especially during a lockdown. Um, this is where like you kind of see people either like kind of fall off or kind of like get better. So I think self-discipline as far as like getting up every day and doing the same thing over and over again, but just you gotta like, even though you don't see results initially, just gotta keep going. So kind of self-discipline and perseverance. Like when somebody tells you, nobody has to tell you to do something even though you're supposed to do it. Like you do stuff on your own. So that's where self-discipline comes in. I think it's a really rare trait that most people should have.
Right. I think for me personally, it would also have to be respect.
Yeah.
My dad was my coach growing up, and there's this one thing he always used to do where he would hold a basketball and tell all the kids, what do you see in a basketball? And when you're like 10, 11, 12 years old, the kids say, oh, I see the word Wilson, or I see the word
Yeah.
Spalding, or I see the stripes. And then my dad would say, you know what I see? I see family. I see respect, self-discipline. But my dad's favorite was always respect, like respect your coaches,
Mhm.
respect your teammates, respect your craft. So I think that probably the biggest here for me would be respect, and I think it does tie into life because everything you got to do, you have to have that simple respect. Like anybody you meet, any way you network about anything has to have that basis of respect. If you don't have respect, you're not gonna get anything done because no one wants to be around someone who can't respect other people, but most importantly, they can't respect themselves.
Yeah.
Like
I
any,
yeah,
go
continue, sure. You could talk if you want to. My fault.
No, I was just gonna say, like, anytime like you have to have, I think the most important thing is that you respect yourself before you do anything. Because if you don't have that simple respect for yourself, then no one's gonna give you that respect back. So
For sure. Like I just think it all plays, like there's different lessons that different people learn, obviously. I just think sports is the best kind of like metaphor for like how people, like how you're supposed to operate in life. Like especially team sports, because life is like it's not individual, it actually operates as a team. You got your family, your friends. You never could do anything like where we are right now. It takes like a network of people. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be here. It's like people that say, "Oh, I did this on my own." Like that's BS. Realistically, like that's not true. Like you had your family, your friends, everybody that's supporting you, like lifted you up a little bit more to get to where you are. So those people need to be acknowledged, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
So fast forward to high school basketball. Like, what were some of your best memories playing high school basketball?
Best memories playing high school basketball. I think having a great season, like my grade 11 year with Sir Will, which was awesome. We went 11 and 0 in a regular season, which was great. Unfortunately, we lost in the playoffs, which was tough, but having those memories on the road with the guys was really fun. High school basketball, as far as making the All Star teams, as far as in Ottawa, like that was a great accomplishment for me. I was really proud to make the team. I felt honored to make it. Um, so I had fun making memories on those teams, but also just playing against people throughout the years, like people that you played through grade 9 to grade 12, developing those relationship against those players that you know are good and you have to play against all the time, developing those relationship and then seeing them play in uni as well, or playing against you,
Mhm.
so like at the next level, which is crazy. Just seeing you grow together and seeing you guys like seeing your rivals push each other, which is to me, which was awesome.
Was prep ever an option for you, or you just straight? I'm just playing high school basketball and that's it.
Yeah, I didn't really look at prep as an option. Honestly, I didn't have any offers after. I was honestly, if I didn't play college, I think I would have been a student. Like I wouldn't have gone back to basketball. Like right after that year, if I was just a student, I wouldn't have looked back at basketball, honestly. Um, but no, I never looked at prep as an option. I guess I didn't dive into it as much. I just really was focused on either getting my degree or diploma, and I didn't want anything to like derail that as much. I think that was like my first thing was like I want to get in as soon as possible because I want to get this. I want to get this part of my life like through as quickly as possible. I guess because I don't want to delay my tuition payments and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's just it's an annoying process that you have to get through, but once you get through, I feel like I'm excited to get into that workplace environment to see where my career takes me.
Anyway, so when you graduated high school, you ended up at Olds College. How did that relationship like come to fruition? Like, how did that recruitment start from you?
Um, I was with Phoenix at the time. Um, an alumni named Mackenzie had a pretty good friend that was in contact with his name is Charlie, I believe. He was in contact with the assistant coach of of a school out there. And it was just a big thing. I never it was like something that just came together so fast. You didn't even it went by a blink of an eye. Like coach told me, you got we got this last minute contact. Boom, they're giving you a letter of intent. Make sure you sign it. Boom, boom, boom. Everything happened. Signed really fast. So how I got out there was just through an alumni connection, really. And Charlie did watch me at one of my last tournaments with Phoenix. Put in a good word. I'm thankful for him for that. And the coach that brought me in, his name was Zach. He was let go later on during the season. So then I was just left with the head coach who didn't really recruit me. So it took time to build that relationship as well. But that's how I got there.
Right. So when you got to Olds College your first year, how was your first year experience playing out west?
First year experience playing out west, it was different just based off my lifestyle. It was first year I was living alone. I was away from my family. I was 18, 19, pretty young. So just as far as living by myself, that was an adjustment in itself. But the game was an adjustment at first, but I think I got a quick grip of it like pretty fast. I started playing well. I was six man for like the first half of the season. Second semester rolled around, I was starting. Um, I had some pretty good games. And we didn't have a good record. Our team didn't really gel together, which was disappointing. And I felt like I wanted to stay there one more year just to finish my diploma. That was my big thing. I really wanted to get my diploma. So that's what I really tried to focus on. But my first year was just kind of getting the rhythm of what a student athlete looks like. So
For those who just go to school like away from home,
mhm.
what are some things you can tell for people who are struggling, being away from home to like how to get through it, right? Because obviously when you are away from home for the first time, it's a big adjustment, right? Like now there's no one telling you what to do. You got to go to class by yourself. You got to wake yourself up. You got to do your own laundry. You got to do all these things. And sometimes people struggle with that. So from your experiences, what are some things that you did that helped you get through being away from home for the first time at only 18 years old?
I could tell you some of the things that helped me and also some of the things I should have done. Some of the things I should have done was be prepared. Um, I think it would happen so fast that I didn't have enough time to prepare on what I need to do. I kind of had to just learn on the fly. So listening to your parents' advice on you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that, like you need to listen to their advice. as far as how to prepare to move out and some of the essential skills you need to know. I think having also developing relationships is really important because when you're out there, you're not gonna just be by yourself. If you are by yourself, you're gonna deal with some mental illness issues, which I actually found out the hard way because you get like when you're out there by yourself, it's really tough. You when you're isolated, that's where your mind kind of just goes crazy. So I think having people to talk to is really important. I've developed a great relationship with my first year roommates, bunch of soccer players. So they're my friends forever. I'll always those guys really mean a lot to me. So developing relationships I really think is important. Having somebody to talk to is important. So I learned that through college. So developing relationships and be prepared before you kind of get there. Learn some essential skills so you don't have to be as stressed out.
I totally agree. And also, I think another thing to add to is also build the proper habits from now. Like, I feel like if you know that you're going to go to college, university away from home, build it from that point. Don't wait to get to university or college and say, you know what, I'm going to flip the switch now. I'm going to start cooking, learn how to cook. I'm going to start learning how to do my own laundry. I'm going to learn how to wake myself up in the morning. Like, I feel like people, like you said, people go to university think, oh, it's this, it's a great time. It's going to have fun. I'm going to go to school and I'm going to party and do all this stuff. No, you're there to get an education. I think it's important that if people actually like build the proper habits that they can have success in the future. Like it doesn't make sense. Like why would you wait until you get there to actually start doing it? It's like
Yeah,
basketball, like right? Like you don't just go to the game and say, I'm gonna start doing all this stuff that I should have done in practice. Like, no, if you're gonna do something, start in practice, right?
yeah,
Start from when no one's watching. Start from when if you make a mistake that you have the time and you have the opportunity to learn from it and grow from it, right? Like don't wait until you actually get there to make the do what you're supposed to do, honestly. But
yeah.
I think it's really important that people actually like take the time to actually build the appropriate what's the word? Build the appropriate habits from
Yeah,
now. So
yeah. Because you see, like, especially when I was out there, you can see the different types of people that go to college, right? There's people like you'll see on campus, people like drinking on a Tuesday, drinking it like it's just kind of you have people go to college for different. That's what I realized early. People go to college at different stages. They go like with different goals in mind, different missions in mind. Some people have no real goals coming out of it. So identifying the developing relationships, but also identifying the right crowd to hang out with is really important. Because if you don't have the right environment around you, you'll get sucked into that stuff.
yeah, I agree too. Like I remember my brother was telling me, make sure that you network. Like, and you're totally right though, because when I first got there, like I just wanted to go to school and play basketball and that's it. I wasn't really trying to talk to nobody. I wasn't really trying to get to know anybody. I was just there to go to school and play basketball. But you're totally right, though. And that's another thing, too. Like, for people that are listening, I want you guys to know that when you get to university, it's really important that you guys learn to network. Like, you got to find a group of people that you can study with, you can get along with, you can talk to. Because when you're away from home, like, it gets lonely. But if you at least have those group of people that you can work with, get to know, have fun, do all this stuff, and then you're going to be fine. Because trust me, university without no friends and no network, trust me, it's a struggle.
Your word.
So that's probably another big thing that I would do, and also get a calendar. Like I know it sounds cliche, but it's super
That's
true. Get a
simple. Yeah, it's true. It's simple, but it's true. You feel me?
yeah, get a calendar. Like because when you're in university, man, there's so many things that hit you at once. Like it's so hard to keep track of it. But if you always get a calendar to write it down, you're gonna be fine. But anyways, let's switch gears as well. So once you finished Olds College, how did Nipissing come about? How did you get in contact with Coach Corey?
The Twins and my Phoenix coach initially after my first year, I was looking to go to Nipissing with Coach Chang actually. That didn't kind of go through as well because I also wanted my diploma and other things got in the way. So after my second year, I got my diploma. I was looking at schools. I had some offers, which was a shock to me. I was like, first time, like I was like, oh, this is kind of crazy. I had some offers from out west. I had some offers from AUS, um, and I had one from OUA from Coach Corey, um, which um, which to me was I think the perfect scenario for me because I know I was going to get pushed. OUA is the toughest conference, like by far, hands down. There's no way putting it. This is the most skilled athletic conference. I've watched the games. I've watched West. I've seen the intensity level you guys play at. Is the most competitive conference as far as skill wise and athleticism. which really caught my eye because I knew I was going to be pushed. I was going to be pushed as far as like as an athlete, and I knew Coach Corey hearing great things from the Twins about the program. Uh, and how I was going to play with them, but unfortunately that didn't happen as well because of COVID. That really caught my eye, and Coach Corey just seemed after talking to him on the phone, I just got different vibes from him. I could tell. I don't know. As a player, when you hear stuff from coaches, I could tell it's genuine, like it's coming from a genuine place. You know what I mean? Some coaches you could tell in their words. I don't know. Something's off. You just gotta. You have that instinct. You feel me? So when I heard Coach Corey talk, I was like, this. There's something genuine about this coach. He seems like a guy that I could talk to, somebody that worries about not only the team future, but my future as an individual. And that really caught my eye. Felt like it was a perfect situation. So I came out here.
I can vouch for that when you say like Coach Corey is probably the obviously outside my dad. Coach Corey is probably the most genuine coach I've ever had in my entire life.
Mhm.
Like from the moment that I met him, I'm like, this guy is super genuine. And like I said, what did it for me was when he made my mom feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Because my mom was like, every other mom, I don't want my son to go into school, like I want him here. But once he was able to make my mom feel comfortable, I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
this guy's a coach for me.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I know obviously we haven't played this season, but how many years do you have at Nipissing after this year?
I have two more.
So in the big picture, what do you hope to accomplish at Nipissing, academically and athletically?
I hope to firstly, I want to get my degree in iLead certificate as well. I want to be able to do a co-op program to get that workplace experience, so I can take it to my career. Um, Athletically, I really want to. Honestly, I want to make the playoffs, man. I haven't made the playoffs post secondary as far as like just really getting a good record to make it to a playoff. So I'm more like I just want to have some success, especially doing it in this conference. I think it would mean a lot to me. You know what I mean? It's a tough conference, but I know that that's a goal that I set for myself and I set for us. You don't want to just put your goals so low where you just kind of like it's better to set them high and fail than set them low and just kind of get there because you're not pushing yourself, right? So I rather set that goal to where we get in the playoffs and we do some things. So that's my goal in the next 2 years.
I agree too. And honestly, like I've had this, I know it seems far fetched, but I don't care. Like I've said this from day one. I want to win a national championship.
Mhm.
Like just seeing doing mixtapes, like when you see people who are at nationals and they win the national championship and that feeling. Like I've won in high school and it's the best feeling when you win.
Mhm.
Right. Like and it'd be amazing like to see a small school, like people were like, who's Nipissing University? Like where's North Bay? Like who is this? And then you see us on the biggest stage like winning.
Mhm.
Like I think that'd be better than anything, right? Because when people say, why did you go to small school, man? Listen, why would I go to a big school where people already have their legacies put into place? Why did I go to a small school, make your own legacy, and put a school on the map that no one's ever heard of?
Yeah.
So I think hopefully, because I got 3 more years after this year, I'm hoping that once everything gets back to kick, definitely make the playoffs, but most importantly, win a national championship.
Mhm.
So,
That's the ultimate goal, right? Every team should have that goal. So
I agree. So, anyways, let's switch gears. Let's get into a serious topic. Obviously, everyone saw last year, what happened with George Floyd and all the Black Lives Matter protests and all that stuff. I just recently got to know you, but I never actually asked you,
Mhm.
what was your reaction when you saw what happened with George Floyd?
Um, uh, it was I wasn't shocked. That's the one thing I say. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked to see the video. A lot of people might say it was surprising, but it wasn't surprising to me. It was just kind of like it was more heart wrenching. It was more like emotional to see a man, kind of cry like that and beg for like pleading for his life. Also, the video footage of him like in the car before it actually happened talking about how his mom died before and he didn't want to get killed. It was very disappointing. I actually did a video presentation on kind of Black Lives Matter for my editing class, and I had to kind of review those police brutalities and stuff like that. And his was one of them that popped up. So seeing that was just even initially was really tough. Um, but yeah, it's really disappointing to think um, that some like things have changed from before till now. It's changed, but not in a way that we think. It's changed as far as hiding it under the system. We kind of like what we do systematically is we hide racism like under a rug. It's like we keep it hidden, and then it kind of creeps up in events, and people just kind of push it to the side. I mean, we're not in slavery, I get that, but it's racism. Systematic racism happens in healthcare, imprisonment, law enforcement. You go down all over government and law enforcement institutions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just to touch on what you just said, like I say the same thing all the time. Like people have to come to the uncomfortable reality that racism exists and it's
Yeah,
still prevalent in Canada. Mukhtar, I think you just turned 21, right?
I'm about to soon.
Yeah, about to turn 21, so am I, right? Like we're almost 21 years old, and the same systematic oppressions are still there from when our parents were our age, our
Mhm.
grandparents, our great grandparents, and that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no way from say like just in a nutshell from the 60s when MLK, Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X were doing their thing to 2021, we're still dealing with the same problems. Like
Mhm.
you would think that as a human race that we were better than that, but like you said, it's sad that because we're making the advancements in the world, but we're not making the advancements in the right places. Like we're making advancements in technology and like how to educate people on certain stuff, but we're not actually taking the time to actually address the real issues where systematic oppressions, hate crimes, job hiring processes. Like we're not taking the time to actually like see what the real issue is and how to address it.
Yeah, and
Um,
I just think like, especially people in this country have a view of racism is not as prevalent as it is in the U.S. And up front, like in your eyes, might not be, but underneath, as Canadians, we are some passive aggressive people. If you
yep.
really think about it, if you
Yep.
really deep this, like we are. So I even if you read articles, like Canada is one of the highest countries, to really to have organized like white supremacy organizations online. So a lot of what Canadians do, it's kind of undermined by internet and web access use, and I just think we need to hold our leaders more accountable. I'm not going to compare Justin Trudeau to Trump because that's just ridiculous. You know what I
Right.
mean? Of
Yep.
course I'm not, but I still hold. I don't. I'm not going to compare those two because I still hold Justin Trudeau to and the government to a high standard that we can't afford bad apples. One police brutality case, death or not, just injury is way too many. It shouldn't be like, oh, we have this. It's not as bad as what this other country has. One is too many. We can't have a couple bad apples in the police department. There should be none. That culture should be eliminated completely, and that's going to take time to change. That's going to take systematic change to happen, right? So it's not something that is going to change in a year or two. It's going to take decades, right? And that comes with government policies changing, and that comes from holding our leaders accountable, right? We can't expect them because they give out a public kind of relation saying Black Lives Matter. To me personally, I don't really take that. I believe that actions speak louder than words, right? So you saying Black Lives Matter and you having the control to do something about it and you doing nothing about it is two different things. So that's where we have to hold our politicians accountable as well.
Yeah, like one of the biggest things that people talk about, is like it's great to say Black Lives Matter and you do all this stuff, but like we're not here for symbolic gestures, right? Like recently, like they changed Aunt Jemima to like Pearl, like Harlan, whatever it is. Like
Yeah,
that doesn't do anything to help eradicate racism in Canada. It doesn't do anything to help eradicate systematic oppression. That doesn't do anything to help with changing job hiring process so that black Canadians can have better opportunities to get jobs. Like looking at the stats, you're seeing like Black Canadians are 12.5% more likely to be oppressed than like other visible minorities. Like that's a problem. And
yeah,
doing all these symbolic gestures like changing Aunt Jemima to Pearl Hall isn't gonna fix it.
yeah.
So with that being said, why do you think it took so long as of last year for people to finally see the stuff that people have been talking about for centuries, the systematic oppression, job hiring process, all these things? And why do you think it took from last year with George Floyd to happen for people to finally see what's been going on?
I think there's been plenty of videos out of this, like people police brutalities happening in Ottawa. There's a case of Abdirahman Abdi happening, who got uh, murdered by police. That video was leaked out. I think the big thing was, I think the protest, in my opinion, the protests happening after were what really caught the media as far as like the fires and stuff like that, the reactions, which is to me perfectly rational. Because what do you expect a people to do when this has been? It's not like a one time thing. It's been reoccurring, and at some point you're going to get eruption reaction, and then this happens all over the country. So then you kind of get a combined reaction from the Black community. So I feel like that overall brought the attention of others. Like, damn, this is really happening. But it's really happening in Canada. Even Aboriginal communities, Indigenous communities, really have to face with this problem as far as their rights being affected, especially in Canada. Um, it's if you look at vaccine rollouts, even the perception of vaccines according to visible minorities, there's been mistreatment to visible minorities in healthcare systems, right? So when you hear about, to me, it was really simple at first. I was like, why doesn't everybody get the vaccine? It's not that crazy. You feel me? But if you hear about the history that Black people have gone through as far as medical testing, it's genetically we are more afraid of tests or vaccines being ran out because we're feel like we're going to be lab rats, right? So it's really something the medical system has to attack, uh, being more informed of informing visible minorities that like we're not here to use you or exploit you, because that is a problem that we have faced before.
I think also too, and this may sound weird, but the pandemic honestly played a role in it because when you think about it, everyone was home, everyone had nothing to do. So when George Floyd happened, this was like the only thing that you could see. So people are like, "Oh my gosh, like this
Yeah,
actually happened to this man." Like
yeah,
at that time, for I want to say for a good 2 weeks, nothing else was being talked about other than what happened with George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests.
you're right.
Like
Yeah,
you had people going down the streets acting like COVID never ever happened.
yeah,
So even though the pandemic has obviously been a troubling time for everybody, I honestly do think that if it wasn't for the pandemic, people have not had the opportunity to finally look in the mirror and say, okay, what am I doing? Like when
yeah,
people make, and this is thing something I always say too, when people make stereotypes, when people say stuff like, and they don't think there's anything wrong with it,
yeah,
when you see what happened to George Floyd, like for me personally, like I didn't see George Floyd when I got murdered. I saw myself, I
yeah,
saw you, I saw my father, I saw
yeah,
all our Black teammates. Like
yeah,
it's there's more to it than what people think. Like when you're a Black person, like there's so many things that you have to take into account, right? Like your representation, how you represent yourself, your family, your race. Like people don't understand, like there's a precedent set in place in society for Black people, and we always have to be above it. Like they're always telling us rise above. And I feel like at that time, people finally see that this is what we're talking about. Like it's an everlasting mountain, like we're trying to climb, and it feels like we're never gonna get there. And you people finally saw it when George Floyd got murdered last year.
yeah. And just even, I don't know about you, Tejon, but I know the way I was raised. No parent should tell their children how to act around police, right?
Yep.
But my mom consistently tells me on every, if you're encounter this as police, this is the way you react. Don't put your hands on the wheel. Show where your hands are, and that shouldn't be an issue. But other kids, other people, they don't know how they have to experience that, right? Even me as a kid growing up, when I see police, like just a police officer walk by, my heart started to beat, like just based off things I've seen, just you know, even in my neighborhood, but just things I've seen, videos I've seen, things I've heard from my parents. So just even that perception among the Black community for police officers, that relationship is very torn, and trust is uh, easily lost and hard earned, right? So that takes a while to come back. Even just the perception in society of Black communities. If you look at the way Capitol Hill was raided by white supremacists, most that wasn't they weren't looked at as uh, you know
Terrorists.
gangsters, terrorists. They were looked at as people expressing the way they feel.
Could
But
you
if
imagine that was Black people that
yeah,
did
right.
that?
But you don't even need to imagine it. Look at the protests that happened before that, right after George Floyd. Oh, they're gangsters. They're burning down everything, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's really two different points of view that people really saw throughout this year.
Yeah, and also also to add on what you said too, also like about education, right? Like in terms of when I grew up, my dad would always push me so hard to be great at school because he told me from I was like 7 that
Mhm.
listen, being a Black man, you already have a strike against you because you're Black.
Yeah.
At 7 years old, I didn't understand. I'm like, what do you mean I'm black? And obviously I get it now. But what he
Yeah.
was talking about was, listen, you already have a strike against you because you're black. Don't make your lack of education be another strike.
Mhm.
And it goes in, like I said, by representation, right? Because the stereotypes, and this is something I always say, like, be careful with the stereotypes you give people. Like, sometimes people will see a black person, like, for example, like you and I both have cornrows right now, right? They see a black person with a hoodie with cornrows and go, oh, this guy's a gangbanger, this guy in the streets and all that stuff. You don't know who I am until you actually meet me. And this is something that I want people to realize, that be careful of the stereotypes you give people, because there's more to people's story than you think. There's more to that you don't know. So don't ever rush to give a stereotype or say an insensitive comment and think that's okay. Like, people really have to be careful of some of the things they say and the way they act towards some people sometimes. I think that's a problem that people need to work on, in my opinion. But
Yeah. Even in our community, we need to catch the way, oh, you're kind of acting this way. That's not black of you. What is that? Like, what does that mean? Really, that's not black. Like, that's the stuff we imply in our own communities, which is wrong. Because because I'm well spoken and I'm educated and I have a knowledge of history, that means I'm not black. Like, what does that really mean? So the negative stereotypes, being uneducated, start talking a certain way, listening to a certain type of music, dressing a certain type of way, makes you not black, which is unbelievably incorrect. So that's something we need to change as far as towards one another in our community.
right. At the time of this recording, it's Black History Month, and just looking at the news recently, I saw something where it's just outside my region, the Durham region, right? I live in Scarborough, so I'm like 5 minutes away from Durham. So there's this like Black scavenger hunt, and basically, or Black History Month scavenger hunt, and basically what it entails is, here are some of the things that they said. You have to talk to a Black coworker, you have to dance to a regular dancehall song, and you have to cook an African or Jamaican meal.
Sorry, man, I'm laughing, but I'm sorry. Yeah, continue.
Like I don't understand like why, and this is something I want people to understand. Like, I don't understand how Black History Month turns into a joke. Like, how is that promoting Black History Month by saying, cook a Caribbean or African meal or talk to a Black employee? Like, why does it have to take Black History Month for you to talk to a Black employee?
I'm just sorry. I'm laughing because I just found it how funny, like how people come up with these ideas. Like how do you even think that through? In
It's
my opinion,
ignorance. It's
yeah, to
ignorance.
me, what you're doing right now with your program, learning about a different impactful Black figure, what you're doing with your
Time to
club.
educate. Yeah, time to
Yeah,
educate. Yeah.
time to educate. I just heard about the track athlete. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But even who is it? You did one about
Raymond Gray Lewis.
Raymond Ray Lewis. Okay, so I
Yeah,
learned.
Rapid Ray. Yeah.
Yeah, so I learned about him. Just even me, I'm learning stuff about people that I may not have known. You know what I mean? So Black History Month just entails you understanding, learning more about Black history. It's simple as that. You don't have to add anything else to it. What that was doing was ignorance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Also too is like I think it's important. We talked about this earlier on the pod, but like it's also important to highlight that racism exists in Canada. Getting to know you at the beginning of our relationship. I heard that you dealt with some like racism stuff in like Olds College in the Western Canada. Can you just talk, for those who don't know, can you just talk a bit about how racism is also prevalent in Western Canada?
mhm. um yeah, I kind of look, I don't know, I kind of look at Alberta like Texas kind of. Like really like kind of farmers land, oil, I don't know, just like the Texas of Canada. I don't know, maybe that might hurt people's feelings. But my experience there was kind of more so my second year was pretty tough. Just like racism, not like I said, not up front, but just kind of underneath whispers, kind of stuff when you walk by, you hear something under their mouth, like, what is he doing here? Type of stuff. Like that type of stuff is just kind of annoying. And to be honest, it kind of kills your vibe to why you're there. I started questioning why I'm there. What am I doing here? Why did I come back if this is the stuff I'm dealing with? Like if a community acts like that towards you, you don't really want to play for that team anymore. So they didn't have any system as far as to provide Black or Indigenous athletes with any racism encountered. So I was kind of just dealing it on my own. I was just kind of figuring out how to balance this. There's a lot of times where I wanted to fight back, but I couldn't because I'm a student athlete. And how would that look if I was the one to fight? Who would get set up initially? So I really had to think every decision through. It was like every decision I was going through, if I heard something, my reaction and how I'd react would actually deter my future. It was actually like I felt like every decision I make was like, is this the one that's gonna mess up my future today? So it was really a stressful time.
Mm. Yeah, so I hear this question a lot, but I never actually thought about it. For you personally, what does it mean to be a black athlete?
For me personally, to be a black athlete means like to have pride in what I do. It means to um, share share my craft, share what I do, share my lessons I've learned to the younger generation if I have the chance to. Means give lessons and things that I've learned to people before me, and also people listen to people those who are ahead of me, take knowledge from them, and understand what they've gone through and help out people before me, people that are coming up. So just being a black athlete means, um, you know, developing relationships within my community, helping those that are coming after me, and also learning from those that have been in the game before.
I think also too, it's just being the definition of excellence, right? In different facets, right? Being excellent in school, the way you present yourself, the way you treat others. I think there's so, and this is the thing too, once again about being black, right? There's just so many layers of it that people don't understand. Like when you go on the street and you're a black person, like there's so many things you have to take into account, like in terms of how you dress, how you talk, like how you act, like just your whole vibe. Like because sometimes, like you said, people will say, what's this guy doing here, right? It's the same thing. So there's just so much that goes with, especially being a black athlete, right? It's just basically representation is the biggest thing.
Yep.
Um, Also, too, at this point, I remember like Shannon said in the first episode of season two is that this is an opportunity for a turning point. We both dealt with our institutions, putting out statements that were very vague and not really addressing the point. So, in your opinion, how can we move beyond this? Like, what are some things we can do to move forward and progress?
I think what you're doing right now with your club is great as far as some turning points and steps to improve um, systemic racism in institutions, especially in universities and colleges. I think the big thing we should not only do is not only inform, but I think we should really understand like the regulation and rules that like are historic and roots of universities, because there are a lot of racism involved in university like rules and kind of code of like conduct and ethics that aren't even noticed by students. So I think first of all, like getting to the root of the problem, which is the history of these universities, and talking, reading through like how it was founded, how it came up, and if there's any racism involved in those kind of acts of foundation, I think we should really like look at eliminating that and discussing how we could progressively move forward. So I think systematic change comes from like we need to involve systematic change by kind of asking questions towards our powerful kind of figures in universities. So like the president of the university, deans, stuff like that, talking to them about change as far as rules and regulations and like the founding kind of constitution of that university, because there's a lot of racism hidden in that originally. So the first step of moving forward is to get rid of that history, right? So that's what I feel like is a big thing.
Yeah, for me personally, it's two things. The first thing is at this point we had to, like you said at the beginning, we got to start holding these people accountable. Like if it's like the police, if it's like the media for not portraying that there's actually racism still in Canada. Like I think at this point we have to really start to hold these people accountable at these institutions, and jobs when it comes to job hiring process, all these different facets. Like we have to start holding these people accountable. So listen, yes, this has been like this for time, but this is now opportunity for a turning point. This is now an opportunity for us to, okay, we see the problem and now we're going to deal with it. We're going to actually offer solutions to make it better. And I
Mhm.
think by just holding people's feet to the fire is really going to help to actually put those policies in the place that should have been there from the beginning. I think people have gotten too comfortable with the way the world is, and sometimes people think that their voice doesn't matter. But I
Mhm.
think now with starting with our generation, that people are finally see that your voice does matter.
Mhm.
Like there is strength in numbers. And I feel like if people actually can come together and start holding these people accountable, that things will get done.
Mhm.
I think the second thing too is empowering the younger generation. Like through the evolution, like there's always things are getting better. So the way that people did it back then in the 60s with like MLK and all that stuff, now we have with people of the 2000s, 2010s with like the Black Lives Matter protests, and social media has been a big factor in terms of promoting positive message in the community. I think it's important that we also do the same thing by empowering the next generation, because the stuff that we know, we can teach them, and they might have some ideas that we never thought of that can make it so much better, and just make the whole message come so much more powerful. So I think if we actually all take the opportunity to actually like impact our local communities, our high schools, and just our brothers, our sisters, if we actually take the time to actually educate and to listen, this is the stuff that happens in the world. I'm going to give you the know-how about what's going on, but hopefully I give you the keys to find solutions for one day, because you might know stuff or you might have ideas that I never thought about that can actually help eradicate the problem more efficiently.
Yeah.
So I think by just empowering the younger generation, I think that's going to be a big key. And like I said before, holding institutions and all these people accountable who have power.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, anyways, Mukhtar, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. So we're getting down to a quick hitter segment. So this is the part of the podcast where usually me and Jason, but since Jason's not here, I ask the question and they have to answer as fast as possible. So first question, who's your favorite artist?
Favorite artist, man. Oh, this is tough. This is a quick hitter, bro. I gotta think about my favorite artist off rip. I'm gonna say Pop Smoke.
Okay. Artist or song on repeat?
Shoot. Artist or song on repeat. I'm gonna just say Pop Smoke or Travis. Like I could listen to those guys on repeat for a while.
Okay. All-time favorite album?
All-time favorite album. All Eyes on Me.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. All-time favorite sports movie?
Oh, Coach Carter. Easy.
I love Coach Carter, but I just love Rebound with Martin Lawrence and Wendy Carl Robinson. I'm just something about there's just something about that SMELTERS. It's just something about the Smelters. It's just something
I'll probably say that or Remember the Titans.
Ooh.
Those are two good ones.
Yep. And also Hoosiers was a good movie too. I saw that in grade 8. It's a pretty good one too. If you could spend the day with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
I'm gonna say Muhammad Ali.
Nice.
I think that would be a dope experience.
I like that answer. Okay, this is a personal question for me. So Mukhtar, do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Oh my god. No, I don't.
Ah,
I don't like pineapple on my pizza. I don't put it on there. I don't mess around. I usually put like chicken, ground beef, some onions maybe, but I don't mess around with that pineapple, bro. I might have to try it again. Maybe I might switch my mind, but I haven't tried pineapple on my pizza for a minute, so I might have to try it again. I'm gonna try it again for you, Tajon. All right, I'll get back to it.
When we get back up there, fam, we're ordering pizza together. We're gonna eat it, watch a game, and I'm putting pineapple on the pizza. Okay.
Say less.
Okay. This is also a personal question for me. Milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
Well, cereal before milk. That's obvious. If somebody else says milk before cereal, they're crazy. You got to check them out.
I guess I'm crazy then.
Oh my god! Put milk before cereal. You're fried, bro. Oh my god. You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Not only do I put milk before cereal, I also warm it up in the microwave.
Nah, you're bugging. You're bugging, bro. You're off it. You warm up your milk? Oh my god, Tajon.
Okay. Last show you binge watched?
Last show I binge watched? Bernie Mac, the Bernie Mac show.
I'm gonna add this. What's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? I like movies more than TV shows. I just been watching the Bernie Mac show. I'm gonna say that's my favorite show because I can watch that or Fresh Prince. Like like those are the type of shows I could just watch over and over. Like even if I've done this like the last season, I could just watch over like the next day. To me, it doesn't matter. Shows that have that repeat value, those are top. Those are top tier. You feel me?
Are you a big binge watcher or you just watch shows like spaced out?
I try to space them out because if I binge watch them, when they're done, I just feel like I have nothing to do with my time. You know what I mean? So I have to space them out because I can actually finish a season in like a day if I get too hard. So I need to like space them out accordingly.
Yep. LeBron or Jordan?
I'm gonna go LeBron, man. I know a lot of people gonna hate, say Jordan's amazing. I didn't watch Jordan growing up, so I can't say Jordan. I'm gonna say LeBron. I'm gonna say LeBron because all around you look stats up and down. I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, he He didn't go 6-0 in the finals. Going to the finals is an accomplishment in itself. I think LeBron has carried more on his back as far as teammates than LeBron. Like that '07 finals, like he had nobody. I don't even know how he got to that finals, but he had nobody. Even in that, even in against the Warriors, like those
2018.
2018, like when he played against the Celtics, he had nobody. I don't know how he finds ways to win, but he does it. And I just think overall rebounds, assists, like he just makes his teammates better. To me, that's what I value more. Jordan had that clutch gene, but I don't know. On and off the court, I also value athlete stuff on off the court as well. I think LeBron is just that guy. He's that dude.
What's one skill you wish you were good at?
One skill I wish I was good at? Honestly, I wish I was just like, I had a 40-inch vert, like just bouncy, like just naturally, like DeAndre. Like I wish I just had genes, like, you know, like just, I was born in a genetic family just full of athletes. But like me, I wasn't born like that. But hopefully I could build it up this summer. But I wish, like, you know, those just natural born, like crazy athletes. I just kind of wish I had that athleticism. But yeah.
I've always said the same answer. I wish I could sing.
Wish you could sing?
I wish I could sing.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Like, you know, the singers, you know, they get all the women. So.
Yeah. Okay, best point guard in the league.
Best point guard in the league. There's no. Steph should be, especially with his season he's having this year. There should be. Damian Lillard's great too, but Steph is actually having like a low key MVP season. He's low key sneaking in there. My favorite is Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, me too.
Steph Curry by far. Yeah, he's the best right now.
Yeah, like my three, and these are not my three like best point guards that we're thinking the best, but these are my three favorite personal point guards.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Kyle Lowry, because I'm a big Raptors fan and I just love Kyle Lowry. Yeah. Damian Lillard, and Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
I can watch those guys all day. Like I love all three of them. Like they just bring something to the table that's just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an interesting one. So obviously, this question people have a lot of different answers, but all-time starting five.
All-time starting five. These are good questions, Tejan. Like I'm actually impressed. You're putting me on the spot. I'm gonna put Magic at the point.
Agree.
He can just dime cats. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna put Kobe at the 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna put LeBron at the 3. Yeah, I could put him at small forward, right?
LeBron?
Yeah.
He's a small forward, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I thought you gave me a funny face. I'm like, was I supposed to put him at guard? I was confused.
No, because keep going. I'll tell you after.
Okay. I'm gonna put LeBron at the 3. At the 4, I'll put. Are these my favorite? Or I just like the best. My favorite, like I could choose from any.
Like if you can make the best starting five out of any NBA player like ever.
Okay, yeah. I'm putting at the 4. I'm putting Tim Duncan.
And who's your center?
At the 5, I'm putting. I'll put Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, we're cutting this. Cut it.
Right.
You did the same. Okay, I'll tell you my starting five first, and I'll tell you my problem.
You did the same as yours? I did the same as yours?
No, so my top 5 is Magic, Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Shaq. That's my top 5. But the problem I have is Jason did the same thing. Where is Michael Jordan in your starting 5? And I'm the biggest Kobe fan. Where is Michael Jordan?
I don't know. I didn't watch Michael Jordan, bro. I watched Kobe. I know he was the best. I understand. Okay, if you want to replace it, you replace it. But what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, I'm basing players I've seen with my own 2 eyes. I'm putting Kobe. But greatest of all time, you replace Jordan. I'll switch my answer. Jordan will replace Kobe.
Okay. And for the record, I'm the biggest Kobe fan. So,
right.
But okay.
You put milk in before your cereal, bro.
Yeah. And I'm unapologetic about it. Okay, so say we're in an alternate universe, right? Same timeline, different Muktar, okay? If you weren't playing basketball, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? Bro, if I wasn't playing basketball, I'll be working at McDonald's. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know what I'd do. That's the thing that's crazy. I think I'd just be a university student. I'd try to work into business. I think, honestly, I would be the same person as I am right now, like what I'm doing right now, just remove basketball out of the equation. Okay. Like, there's nothing different. So.
Okay. Final question, and this is every person I've asked has struggled with this question. If you could make a soundtrack of your life, What 3 songs are you using?
That's tough. That is tough. Oh my god. Like specific tracks. I can't put
Yes.
art. Okay, specific tracks.
Yes.
Holy moly. Oh my god, bro. Okay, let me look at my phone real quick. Is this cheating? Am I allowed to do this?
Nope. You can lay your phone.
I'm gonna just this is hard. I'll put some type of Whitney Houston there for sure. That's my first one because Whitney Houston is number one to me. I'll put like "Saving All My Love" by Whitney Houston to start off.
Okay.
I'll put some like rap. So maybe I'll put some Migos in there.
Okay.
I might put Big on Big.
Okay.
And then to end it, I'll end it with some Pop Smoke. I'll put Yeah Yeah by Pop Smoke.
Okay.
Those are my 3 tracks. It was kind of random, but
Okay.
tough question. And you put me on the spot. If you gave me like 10 minutes, I would have gave you a proper answer.
I answer this question all the time, so I'll just tell you my answer. So the first one is definitely "Grinding All My Life" by Nipsey Hussle.
That's a good one.
"Started from the Bottom" by Drake.
Oh my god.
"My Moment," which is by DJ Drama featuring Meek Mill, 2 Chainz, and Jeremiah. I said Jeremiah. And I'm at a 4th song, and this is a song that I think people would usually know. "Remember the Name" by Fort Minor.
I'm gonna search that up tonight. I don't know if I remember it.
No, it's a 10% skill, 20% skill, 15%.
Okay.
Car with 5% pleasure and 100% reason to remember the name of that song.
Okay, I got you. That's at like that warm up track. I feel you.
Yep. Anyway, that's all the time we have. So Muktar, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me, man.
We definitely gotta do this again.
For sure, man. Whenever you hit me up, I got you. Have fun.
All right, that's a wrap on another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. You can catch the video of this interview on YouTube and listen to the full interview on all podcast streaming platforms. Peace.